Hello everyone and welcome back to the Platinum Tools YouTube channel. In today's video we'll be going ahead and breaking down the contract minter part of the extension. Let's go ahead and begin. The first thing we're going to go ahead and do in this video is break down these three buttons here. Then we'll go ahead and transition into this part of this video. So let's go ahead and click on the wallet button. This is your current active wallet. You can see your balance and part of your wallet address here. Platinum Tools uses the active MetaMask wallet. If you're experiencing issues connecting a wallet, simply reset the Platinum Tools extension and try again. Further support can be provided inside the Platinum Discord server. Please open a ticket to speak with a Platinum staff member. You can go ahead and connect your wallets using this button. I already connected mine upon starting up, but it's a pretty simple process. Moving over to this button, this is the gas calculator. This is where you can go ahead and calculate gas. So let's say, for example, I'm going for a mint with a 0.07 ETH price. This is an ETH, by the way. Let's say the gas limit is, let's say 10,000, for example. Let's say priority fee is 100 and the GUE is the current GUE of 30. As you can see, that will be the fee for a transaction. If I go ahead and hit the set gas button, you're going to see, if I head over to the toolbox here, you can see this is where we go ahead and manage gas presets. The information was sent over because I hit the set gas button. So oftentimes when you're going ahead and calculating fees for a transaction, you want to go ahead and use those fields. You can hit the set gas button and the information is sent over. Another thing to note, I did mention it during that explanation, is that you can see the current GUE up here as well. As well as being able to configure the gas limit, max priority and max gas, you can also change the monitoring delay. It's currently set to 5,000 milliseconds, so any value in here will be taken as milliseconds. You cannot lower it below 5,000 milliseconds. You can only change it from 5,000 upwards, so please keep that in mind. And when you do change it, it does need an extension restart. So now that we've broken down that, let's move over to this section. And the first thing we need to do is identify a contract address that we're going to be using in today's video. So I'm going to head over to OpenSea. I've navigated over to the Doodles collection here. I'm going to click on any of the NFTs within the collection. In the URL, you can see the contract address for any NFT part of any collection. If you go ahead after assets, this number here up until this slash is the contract address. 3408 stands for the numbered NFT. So I'm going to go ahead and copy the address here. Now if I go back to the extension, if I go ahead and paste it in and click check Etherscan functions, you're going to see that the contract gets opened up and it takes me to the right contract tab. As you can see, this is the contract for Doodles. So let's go ahead and progress with the extension here. I'm going to go ahead and minimize this in such a way where we can see both at the same time. So the next thing is to enter a proxy address. If you want to use a proxy address with your execution, then you can. I don't want to in today's video, so that's completely fine. Moving over to the check Etherscan functions. Once again, once you enter the contract address, you click this, it will take you to the contract, to the right contract tab. Then we have the mint function. Now this function is going to be the function you're going to use to mint the NFT. In most cases, it's simply just going to be mint. As you can see here is mint. So I would just type in mint, but it can vary, so look at the contract carefully and go ahead and identify the mint function. The next thing is parameters, and this stands for number of tokens, which is equivalent to the number of NFTs you want to go ahead and mint. So in this case, I want to go ahead and mint one NFT, so I'm going to type in 1. Then you go ahead and type in the mint price. Obviously this information is available anywhere when you're going for a real mint. So I'm going to go ahead and type in 0.07. I'm going to be going with the price of 0.07 ETH for today's video. When it comes to actual real mint, you'll find this information in the Platinum Discord server, so you can use that to populate this field. Moving over to the trigger function here, I'm going to go ahead and break down the functionality of this. The trigger function is what the extension uses to monitor the contract and auto execute exactly when the mint starts, and the function can be found in the read contract part of the entirety of the contract. So I'm going to go ahead and break down what that means. So we're going to head over to read contracts here, and we're going to find the trigger, which is going to be sale is active, and as you can see is currently false. Now to go ahead and populate this field in this situation, let's say we're going for a mint. If we want to use the trigger function, we need to go ahead and enter the function, which is sale is active, and we need to put the expected value that it would be when the mint starts. So for example, let's type in sale is active just like so, and hit a colon. Now the expected value for this function would be true because it is currently set to false because the mint is not taking place. Therefore, when the mint is taking place, the value of sale is active is going to be true. Therefore, the trigger function here would be sale is active, colon, the expected value, which is true. When you go ahead and execute this task, all the extension will do is wait for the trigger function to match this, then it will fully execute and go through the minting process. So let's say, for example, you're setting this up 10 minutes before a mint's going to take place, and you go ahead and type in the trigger function. You've identified the trigger in the contracts and you put the expected value. It will be something along these lines, but obviously you can go ahead and consult the Platinum Discord for help if you need help with it. Just make sure you identify the correct trigger. So let's say you're waiting 10 minutes before a drop, you go ahead and type in the trigger function. That means you don't have to manually execute it. Instead, the extension will go ahead and wait for the trigger function and the expected value. Moving over to the Etherscan API key, you can go ahead and enter this. You can get 3 of them for absolutely free when you go ahead and make an account on Etherscan. I'll leave a link to that in the YouTube description. It's completely free, so I'd highly recommend you go ahead and use the API key with your executions. And finally, we have standby mode. Now, standby mode will essentially go ahead and begin monitoring the trigger function you enter here. So to be able to enable standby mode, you do need to have a trigger function. As you can see, I can enable it, but let's say, for example, I disable it, I get rid of this and try to enable it, you will see it won't work because it needs a trigger function. So now that I've gone ahead and populated the fields I do want to populate, I've gone ahead and removed the trigger function in standby mode. In this situation, essentially, I'm just instructing the extension to go ahead and mint the NFT straight away by hitting the execute button. And now you will see the MetaMask notification pops up and I can go ahead and mint it based on the price and everything that I've entered. The alternative scenario here is that I go ahead and enter a trigger function, I enable standby mode, I execute it, and then the extension waits for the trigger function expected value, and then it will prompt me to go ahead and approve the transaction and mint the NFT. That is going to go ahead and conclude today's video.